They thought I was weak because I always gave in. They were wrong. I was just waiting for the right moment to show them what real strength looks like. I'm Sarah, 32 years old, and I've spent the last 15 years being the family doormat. Not because I was stupid, not because I didn't know better, but because I actually believed that blood meant something. That sacrifice would be recognized, that love was supposed to be unconditional. Turns out I was naive. Let me take you back to where this all started, because you need to understand the foundation before you can appreciate how spectacularly it all came crashing down. I was 17 when my mom died. Breast cancer. It took her in 8 months, and it took everything we had with it. Dad was destroyed. I was supposed to start at Stanford that fall on a full scholarship, but instead, I stayed home that first semester. Someone had to make sure Dad ate. Someone had to keep the house running. Someone had to be the adult. That someone was always me. 6 months after Mom's funeral, Dad met Rebecca at some grief counseling group. She was recently divorced, had money, and came with her own baggage, a 24-year-old daughter named Madison. Rebecca was polished, put together, everything Mom wasn't. Where Mom was warm and messy and real, Rebecca was cold and calculated and perfect. Dad married her 8 months later. I remember standing at that wedding, watching him promise forever to someone who looked at me like I was a problem to be solved, and thinking, at least he's happy again. I was such an idiot. Madison was 4 years younger than me, but you'd never know it from how the family treated her. She was beautiful in that effortless way some people are, the kind of pretty that makes life easier. Doors opened for Madison. People smiled at her. She'd never had to fight for anything because everything just came to her, including my future. I made it to Stanford eventually, started my sophomore year late, but I was only there for 1 year before the phone calls started. Dad needed help with Rebecca's medical bills. She'd had some cosmetic surgery that insurance wouldn't cover. Madison wanted to study design in Paris at Parsons. It was her dream. Surely I understood about dreams. The subtext was clear. I was the strong one. I could handle it. Madison was delicate, special, deserving of protection. So I left Stanford. I told myself it was temporary. I got 2 jobs, one as a marketing assistant during the day, another waitressing at night. I sent money home every month. I watched Madison's Instagram fill with photos of the Eiffel Tower, croissants, fashion shows, her perfect Parisian life. I was 20 years old, working 16-hour days, living in a studio apartment with a hot plate, and I told myself it was worth it. Family takes care of family. But here's what I learned too late. In dysfunctional families, family takes care of family really means you take care of us. The years blurred together. I got pregnant at 24 with Emma. Her father, my boyfriend at the time, decided fatherhood wasn't for him and left before she was born. When I told my family, Rebecca's response was, "Well, this is unfortunate timing." Dad said, "You'll figure it out, princess. You always do." Madison posted a photo of herself in a designer dress with the caption, "So grateful for my drama-free life." I raised Emma alone. I climbed the corporate ladder while juggling daycare pickups and midnight feedings. I became a marketing manager, then a senior manager. I made decent money, enough to support us, and still send cash home when Dad called about Madison's needs. And Madison's needs were endless. A new laptop, rent for her Brooklyn apartment when she came back from Paris, startup capital for her Instagram influencer career. Every time, Dad would call with that tone in his voice, that disappointed father tone that said, "Your sister really needs this, Sarah. You know how hard things are for her." Meanwhile, I was shopping at Target and cutting Emma's hair in our bathroom, but I told myself it was fine. I told myself that one day, Madison would remember. One day, my family would see everything I'd sacrificed and they'd be grateful. God, I was so stupid. Madison's Instagram follower count hit 200,000 last year. She posted daily content about her fabulous life, her fashion, her brunch spots, her family gatherings where I was conveniently cropped out of every photo. Her bio said, "Living my best life with my amazing parents," like I didn't exist. Then, 6 months ago, she met Alexander Pemberton III. Old money, real estate empire, the kind of family that has buildings named after them and box seats at the Met. Alexander was handsome in that generic rich guy way, Tall, good hair, teeth too white to be natural. He wore his privilege like a second skin. Madison called me, breathless with excitement. "Sarah, I met someone. He's incredible. His family owns half of Manhattan." I was happy for her. I really was. I thought maybe this would be good for her, that she'd finally have everything she wanted, and maybe, just maybe, she'd stop needing me to fund her dreams. 3 months later, she was engaged. The ring was obscene, 5 carats, emerald cut, probably cost more than I'd made in 2 years. She posted 17 photos of it from different angles. She didn't call to tell me. I found out on Instagram like everyone else. When I finally called her, she was distracted. "Oh, Sarah, yes. Isn't it amazing? Listen, I have to run. Wedding planning is insane. I'll call you later." She didn't call later. The wedding preparations took over Madison's entire life. Every post was about venues, dresses, flowers, the journey to her perfect day. Rebecca was tagged in everything, involved in every decision. Dad appeared in photos, beaming proud father, giving his blessing. I wasn't in any of them. I told myself it was fine. I was busy with Emma, with work. Madison was just caught up in wedding excitement. It didn't mean anything. But then things started changing. Madison's posts about my family never included me. When she did those Instagram stories about wedding planning stress, she'd say things like, "So grateful for my mom's support," and tag Rebecca. Never me, her actual sister who'd put her through design school. I started to notice I wasn't being invited to things. Madison's engagement party, I found out about it afterwards from Dad's Facebook post. Her bridal shower, I wasn't on the guest list. The rehearsal dinner, family only. But apparently I didn't qualify. When I asked Dad about it, he got uncomfortable. "Madison's just trying to keep things small, Princess. You know how the Pembertons are. Very traditional family." Traditional family. Right. The kind that erases inconvenient siblings. 3 weeks before the wedding, the invitation finally arrived. Heavy cardstock, embossed lettering, the whole 9 yards. I opened it with Emma sitting next to me, excited to see Aunt Madison get married. The invitation said, "Sarah Chen." Just my name. No +1 for my 7-year-old daughter. I read the insert card. Dress code, black tie, and in small letters at the bottom, "Adult reception, children under 12 not permitted." Emma looked up at me. "Mommy, can I come to Aunt Madison's wedding?" I called Madison immediately. She answered on the 4th ring, sounding annoyed. "Sarah, I'm in a fitting. What's up?" "The invitation says no children. Emma's your niece?" "It's a child-free wedding, Sarah. Very common for formal events. The Pembertons really wanted to keep it elegant and sophisticated." "Alexander's nieces are in the wedding party. I saw the photos you posted." "That's different. They're part of the ceremony. Don't make this about you." "Make this about me." Like wanting my daughter to see her aunt get married was some kind of narcissistic demand. "Madison, she's 7 years old. She's been excited about this for months." "Sarah." Madison's voice went cold. "This is my wedding, my day. I've accommodated a lot already. The Pembertons have very specific expectations about the guest list and the atmosphere. I need you to just be supportive for once instead of difficult. For once. Like I hadn't been supporting her my entire adult life." I hung up. I didn't trust myself to say anything else. Rebecca called an hour later. "Sarah, darling, Madison's very upset. You can't make demands on her wedding day. It's supposed to be perfect. I just wanted my daughter to be there." "And we understand that, but you have to think about what's best for Madison. This is the most important day of her life. She's marrying into a very prominent family. Surely you can understand that appearances matter." Appearances? Right. And a single mother with a mixed-race kid didn't fit the aesthetic. I found a babysitter for Emma. It cost $200. I bought a new dress because everything in my closet was too old or too casual for a Plaza Hotel wedding. $400 I couldn't afford, but I bought it anyway because I couldn't show up looking poor. That would embarrass Madison. I was still trying, still believing that maybe this was just wedding stress, still thinking that blood meant something. I had no idea what was waiting for me at the Plaza Hotel. No idea that my sister was about to prove, in front of 200 people, exactly how much I meant to her. Which was nothing. Nothing at all. The morning of the wedding, I dropped Emma off at the babysitter's apartment. She hugged me tight. "You look pretty, Mommy. Tell Aunt Madison I said congratulations." I promised I would, already knowing I wouldn't get close enough to Madison to relay anything. The Plaza Hotel was exactly as obscene as you'd expect. Chandeliers, marble floors, staff in pristine uniforms directing guests. I felt out of place immediately, even in my new dress. Everyone else looked like they'd been born in black tie, like country clubs and charity galas were their natural habitat. I gave my name to the woman with the clipboard at the entrance. She scanned her list, her finger running down names. "Sarah Chin, yes. Table 47. "Where is that?" She gestured vaguely toward the back of the ballroom. "Someone will show you." I walked into the ballroom and my breath caught. It was stunning. Flowers everywhere, roses and orchids, probably tens of thousands of dollars in arrangements. Gold chargers on every table, crystal glasses that caught the light, a stage set up with a full band, and in the center of it all, tables arranged in a careful hierarchy. I could see table 1 right in front of the stage where the Pemberton family would sit. Tables 2 through 10 close to the action, clearly for important people. Table 47 was behind a decorative plant wall near the service entrance. I stood there for a moment, holding my clutch, realizing what this meant. Madison had literally hidden me, put me where guests wouldn't see me, where I wouldn't appear in any photos, where I might as well not exist. A server walked by and actually asked, "Are you with the catering staff?" "No," I said quietly. "I'm the bride's sister." The server looked confused, glanced at my table assignment, and walked away without another word. I sat down at table 47 with 5 strangers, people who'd clearly also been relegated to the forgotten zone. Nobody made eye contact. Nobody introduced themselves. We were the social rejects, the guests Madison had to invite but didn't want to see. From my seat, I couldn't see the ceremony stage. I could only hear it, heard the music start, heard the gasps as Madison appeared, heard the vows, distant and echoey, heard my father's voice as he gave her away, the pride in his tone. I sat behind a plant and listened to my sister get married. After the ceremony, during cocktail hour, I tried to blend in. I stood near the bar, sipping champagne I couldn't taste. Madison's friends walked by, beautiful people in beautiful clothes, laughing about something. One of them bumped into me. "Oh, sorry." She looked me up and down. "Are you a friend of Alexander's family?" "I'm Madison's sister." Her face changed. "Oh, you're Sarah?" The way she said my name, like she'd heard it before in a context that wasn't flattering. "I didn't know Madison had a sister," her friend said, clearly lying. They walked away, and I heard one whisper, "That's the one she never talks about." During dinner, I stayed at table 47. The food was probably incredible, but it tasted like nothing. I watched the head table where Madison sat next to Alexander, both of them looking like they'd stepped out of a magazine. Rebecca was there, Dad was there, Alexander's parents were there. One big, happy family. When it came time for toasts, Madison's maid of honor spoke first. Funny stories, heartfelt moments, tears, and laughter. Then Madison took the microphone. She looked stunning in her wedding dress, $30,000 of silk and lace, every inch the perfect bride. "I want to thank my real family," she began, and my stomach dropped. "My mom, Rebecca, who raised me with class and taught me what it means to be a strong woman. My dad, who gave me everything and never stopped believing in me. And my incredible husband's family, who welcomed me with open arms into their world." The camera panned across Rebecca, crying delicate tears. Dad, beaming with pride. The Pembertons, nodding with approval. Madison continued. "Growing up wasn't always easy. I had to learn to distance myself from negative influences and focus on becoming my best self. I had to make hard choices about who I let into my life, who deserved my energy and love. Today proves that when you choose the right people, when you surround yourself with excellence and positivity, magic happens." People clapped. They actually clapped. I sat there, hidden behind a plant at table 47, and I realized she was talking about me. I was the negative influence. I was the person she'd distanced herself from. Me, who'd paid for her education. Me, who'd sent money when she couldn't make rent. Me, who'd given up Stanford so she could have Paris. I was the person she was grateful to have escaped. Something inside me broke. Not my heart. I'd made peace with my family not loving me years ago. This was different. This was my fear breaking. My need for their approval dying. My willingness to be small so they could shine, evaporating. I got up to go to the bathroom, just needed air, needed space. I walked toward the hallway and Madison appeared out of nowhere, blocking my path. "Where are you going?" she hissed. "The photographer's about to do family photos." I stared at her. I thought I wasn't family. "Don't be dramatic, Sarah. We need you for a few shots. You know, the obligatory ones." Obligatory? Right. The photos she'd never post, never frame, never look at. The proof that she'd included me so nobody could accuse her of being cruel. "I'm not feeling well," I said. "You never could handle formal events," Madison said, her voice dripping with disdain. "Always so uncomfortable in nice places. Just try not to embarrass me, okay? Alexander's family is very particular." She walked away, leaving me standing there shaking. I went to the bathroom, locked myself in a stall, tried to breathe, tried to figure out how I'd gotten here, to this place where my own sister treated me like a shameful secret. When I came out, I washed my hands and looked at myself in the mirror. $400 dress, hair done professionally, makeup perfect, and none of it mattered because to Madison, to my family, I was still just the burden, the obligation, the one who didn't fit. I walked back into the ballroom and that's when I heard it. The commotion at the entrance, people turning to look, the wedding planner's voice, high and panicked. A man walked in, late 30s, tall, wearing a perfectly tailored Tom Ford suit that probably cost more than my car. Dark hair, strong jaw, the kind of presence that made people step aside. He was scanning the room, looking for something, someone. And then his eyes landed on me, standing there near table 47, half hidden behind that goddamn plant. He smiled and started walking toward me. I knew that smile, knew that walk. Hadn't seen it in 8 years, but my body remembered before my brain caught up. James Hartwell, my ex-boyfriend from Stanford, the one I'd left behind when I dropped out to save my family. What the hell was he doing here? He reached me, and the entire ballroom seemed to go quiet. Or maybe that was just my pulse roaring in my ears. "Sarah Chen," he said, loud enough for the people nearby to hear. "I've been looking everywhere for you. They hid you well." I couldn't speak, couldn't process. James was here. At Madison's wedding, looking at me like no time had passed at all. He leaned in, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Play along. Trust me?" And because I had nothing left to lose, because sitting at table 47 had finally killed whatever hope I'd been clinging to, I nodded. James straightened, spoke louder. "I'm so sorry I'm late, darling. The jet from San Francisco hit headwinds. Have I missed much of your sister's wedding?" Darling. Jet. The words hung in the air. I saw Madison across the room, frozen mid-conversation, staring at us. Saw Rebecca's mouth fall open. Saw guests whispering, heads turning. And I thought, maybe their smirks won't last as long as they think. We were in James's car, a Rolls-Royce that smelled like leather and money, pulling away from the Plaza Hotel. My hands were shaking. I couldn't stop them. "Okay," I said finally. "Start talking. What was that back there?" James kept his eyes on the road, but I saw the hint of a smile. "That was me keeping a promise I made 8 years ago." "What promise?" "James, we haven't spoken in 8 years. I ghosted you. I disappeared. Why would you—" "Let me tell you a story," he interrupted, "about a guy who fell in love with a girl at Stanford. Smart, driven, kind. Too kind, actually. She had this way of putting everyone else first, even when it hurt her." I looked out the window, couldn't meet his eyes. James. Her mom died. She had to go home. And this guy, he was young and stupid and thought money could fix anything, so he offered to help, pay for her expenses, whatever she needed to stay in school. You know what she said? I did know. I remembered that conversation in the campus coffee shop, remembered his earnest face, his trust fund confidence that problems were just numbers to be solved. She said no, I whispered. She said no. Said it was her family, her responsibility. Said she couldn't drag him into her mess, and then she left, just packed up and left, stopped answering calls, blocked him on everything. I thought I was protecting you. I know you did. James finally looked at me. After you left, I was angry. Then I was motivated. I built my first company thinking, I'll show her. I'll prove I can be someone she doesn't have to protect. Every success, every deal, every dollar, I thought about you. The confession hung between us, heavy and raw. How did you even know about the wedding? I asked. LinkedIn. I've followed your career. When I saw Madison's engagement announcement 6 months ago, mentioning Alexander Pemberton, I did my research, found out about his family's company, found out they needed capital. You're kidding. I'm not. Pemberton Real Estate is leveraged to hell. They look good on paper, old family name, but they've made some bad investments. They needed a cash injection, so I positioned myself as their angel investor. I stared at him. You engineered this entire thing? I engineered the opportunity. Your sister being cruel at the wedding, that was all her. I just made sure there would be consequences. The driver pulled up to a hotel, the Four Seasons. James got out, opened my door. I have a suite upstairs. We can talk properly. Or I can take you home. Your choice. I should have gone home, should have processed this alone. But I'd spent 8 years alone, and right then, I needed to understand what had just happened. We went upstairs. The suite was ridiculous. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park, furniture that looked like it belonged in a museum, a full bar. James poured 2 glasses of whiskey, handed me one. Why? I asked. Why go through all this for someone who ghosted you? Because when I heard how your family treated you, I realized something. You didn't ghost me because you didn't love me. You did it because you did love me. You thought you were protecting me, just like you always protected everyone, even the people who didn't deserve it. I took a long drink. The whiskey burned. After you left Stanford, I graduated, started a tech company with some friends. We got lucky, sold it for $30 million when I was 25, started a venture capital fund. That grew. Now I manage $2 billion in assets, and I'm on the Forbes list, and none of it means anything because the person who taught me about real character, about sacrifice, she's sitting at table 47 behind a fucking plant at her own sister's wedding. James? I spent 3 months setting this up, Sarah. Made Alexander an offer he couldn't refuse. $50 million in financing for his Hudson Yards project. One condition. I wanted to meet the whole Pemberton family before finalizing, including his new wife's family. You planned to come to the wedding from the beginning. I planned to be there to make sure you weren't treated like garbage. I didn't plan on the table 47 thing. That was worse than I imagined. I set down my glass. My hands had stopped shaking. Something else was rising up in me now, something that felt dangerous and powerful and long overdue. What happens now? I asked. Now? James smiled, and it wasn't kind. Now we let Alexander sweat. Let him wonder if his $50 million investor is going to pull out because his new wife publicly humiliated her own sister. Let the Pemberton scramble. Let Madison realize that cruelty has a price tag. You'd really pull your investment? In a heartbeat. You think I care about Hudson Yards? I care about you. I always have. The confession sat between us. 8 years of silence. 8 years of separate lives. And here we were, right back to the thing that had always been true. We'd loved each other, and I'd run away because I thought love meant sacrifice. I was so tired, James. My voice cracked. So tired of being the strong one. The one who gave up everything. I thought if I pushed you away, at least one person I loved would have a chance at happiness. You gave me that. My success is built on watching you, your work ethic, your integrity. You refused my money, and that taught me that real wealth isn't what you have, it's who you are. I started crying. Couldn't help it. 8 years of holding it together, of being strong, of swallowing hurt, and it all came pouring out. James held me. Didn't say anything, just held me while I sobbed into his $5,000 suit. When I finally stopped, he said, "You don't have to decide anything right now. About us, about them, about any of it. But I want you to know, you're not alone anymore. Not unless you choose to be." My phone started buzzing. Text after text after text. Madison. "Sarah, we need to talk." Madison. "I'm sorry about the seating thing. Mom's idea." Madison. "Please don't let this affect my marriage." Madison. "Alexander's family is freaking out." Madison. "James still has feelings for you, doesn't he? That's why he's doing this." Madison. "Sarah, answer me." I showed James. He laughed, dark and satisfied. "Let her wait," Rebecca called. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. "Sarah, sweetheart, let's have lunch. Clear the air. I think there's been some misunderstandings." Dad called. I almost answered. Almost. But then I remembered his silence during Madison's toast, his absence from every moment I'd needed him, and I let it go to voicemail too. "Sarah, princess, you've always been the bigger person. Don't change now. Call me back, please." I looked at James. They're not sorry for what they did. They're sorry I have power now. Welcome to the truth. The next morning, my phone exploded. Someone had posted a photo from the wedding. James and me, leaving together, his hand on my back, me looking up at him. The caption, "Who's the mystery woman with billionaire James Hartwell?" Society blogs picked it up within hours. Page 6 ran a story. "Venture capitalist crashes wedding to reunite with ex." The comments section was brutal. "Wait, isn't that the bride's sister? I was there. They seated her at table 47 behind a plant. So messed up." Plot twist of the century, the embarrassing sister bags the billionaire. James posted on his Instagram that afternoon. 2 million followers saw it instantly. The photo of us at the wedding, me in my $400 dress, him looking at me like I was the only person in the room. Caption, "Reconnecting with the woman who taught me what real character looks like. Some families treasure their members. Others learn too late what they've lost. Hashtag family values. Hashtag real wealth." It went viral. 500,000 likes in 3 hours. The phone calls intensified. Alexander called James directly. James put it on speaker so I could hear. "Mr. Hartwell, I think there's been a misunderstanding about Saturday." "No misunderstanding, Alexander. I saw exactly what happened. Your wife publicly humiliated her sister. The sister who, by the way, funded most of her education and lifestyle. The sister who sacrificed her own future so Madison could have hers. And you all treated her like she was trash. That wasn't... Madison didn't mean... I don't care what she meant. I care what she did. My investment committee meets Monday to finalize the Hudson Yards deal. I'll be recommending we pass." "Mr. Hartwell, please. $50 million over a seating arrangement?" "Over character, Alexander. Your family pitched me on traditional values and family stability. Then you let your wife treat her sister like hired help. That tells me everything I need to know about your values." James hung up. Looked at me. "Too much?" "Not enough," I said, and meant it. The Pembertons hired a private investigator. They found out everything. My MBA, completed online while working full-time and raising Emma. My career progression. The references from CEOs James knew personally. The $200,000 I'd sent my family over 8 years. Mrs. Pemberton called an emergency family meeting. Alexander told Madison about it later, and Madison, desperate, told me everything in a rambling voicemail I didn't listen to until days later. "Your wife told us her sister was a struggling single mother with no connections," Mrs. Pemberton had said, ice in her voice. "She didn't mention her sister put her through school. She didn't mention her sister has an MBA and a 6-figure job. She certainly didn't mention her sister's ex-boyfriend controls our financing." Madison tried to deflect. "Sarah is struggling. She has a kid. She works constantly. I was trying to protect her from what? From being treated with basic respect at a family wedding? Alexander's father joined in. You told us Madison's family drama was handled, that her sister understood her place. This is a disaster. The social media pile-on continued. Madison's Instagram comments were vicious. Show us how you treated your sister. Table 47 behind a plant? Seriously? Your negative influence paid for your life, girl. Madison made her account private. Her follower count dropped from 200,000 to 180,000 in a week. Sponsors pulled out. Brand image concerns, they said. 2 weeks after the wedding, Madison showed up at my apartment. I opened the door, and there she was, mascara running, looking nothing like the perfect bride from the Plaza Hotel. Sarah, please, I need your help. Now you need me. My marriage is falling apart. Alexander's family hates me. I have no money. He cut off my cards. My followers are leaving. Please, just talk to James. Tell him to reinvest. Why would I do that? Because I'm your sister. You said I wasn't family anymore. Remember? At your luxurious wedding when you called security because I dared to walk near the bridal suite? Her face crumpled. I didn't mean that. I was stressed. No, Madison, you meant it. You meant it every time you cropped me out of photos. Every time you forgot to invite me. Every time you took my money and gave me nothing but contempt. I handed her an envelope. Legal documents inside, prepared by James's attorney. What is this? Documentation of every dollar I gave this family over 8 years. $187,400. Consider it a loan. I expect repayment within 5 years with interest. You're billing me? I'm treating you like you treated me, like a transaction. Isn't that what family is to you? Madison stared at the papers like they might bite her. I can't pay this. That's your problem now. Dad called that night. I almost didn't answer. Almost. Sarah, you can't be serious. That money was given freely. Was it, Dad? Was it freely given, or did you guilt me every time? Madison needs this. Your sister deserves a chance. You're the strong one. You can handle it. Silence on the other end. I spent 8 years waiting to hear you say sorry, Dad. Now, I don't need it anymore. Sarah, that's not fair. Fair? Nothing about the last 8 years has been fair. But it ends now. You have a choice to make. You can choose Madison and Rebecca, the people who treat family like assets. Or you can rebuild a relationship with me. But you can't have both. I won't be a doormat anymore. Sarah, I can't just abandon your sister. You abandoned me for 8 years, Dad. You watched Rebecca treat me like free labor. You let Madison erase me from family photos. You stood silent while she gave a toast about cutting out negative influences, and you knew she meant me. Don't talk to me about abandonment. I hung up. 3 months passed. The longest 3 months of my life, and somehow the lightest. James and I started dating. Really dating, not the desperate college romance from before, but something built on who we'd become. He met Emma, played Barbies with her without complaint, let her paint his nails, took her to the park. He's nice, Mommy, Emma said one night at bedtime. He doesn't make you sad like the family does. Out of the mouths of babes, James eventually reinvested in Alexander's project. Business is business, he said, but I made sure the contract has a morality clause. Any public scandal involving the Pemberton family, we can pull out with no penalty. Alexander and Madison divorced 7 months after the wedding. She'd tried to keep up appearances, but the foundation was rotten. He married someone from an old money family 2 years later, someone who understood his world. Madison moved back in with Rebecca, got a job at a boutique in Soho, selling designer clothes she couldn't afford anymore. Her Instagram stayed private. The influencer career was over. Rebecca divorced Dad a year later. She'd wanted Madison's wealthy lifestyle, not a middle-class life with a man who'd finally grown a spine. Dad called regularly now. We were rebuilding slowly. He saw Emma once a month, supervised visits. Progress was painful and conditional. I lost my wife trying to keep the peace, he told me during one visit. I lost Madison to her own ego. I almost lost you. I'm trying to understand how I failed everyone. You chose comfort over courage, Dad. You let Rebecca and Madison dictate the terms because it was easier than standing up for what was right. I know. I'm sorry. The apology came too late to erase the hurt, but it was something. Madison tried therapy as part of her divorce settlement, court-ordered. I heard from Aunt Carol that it wasn't going well. Can you identify what led to the breakdown of your relationships? The therapist apparently asked. Madison's answer: bad luck. Sarah's ex showing up, Alexander's family being too sensitive. She didn't learn. Some people don't, but I did. I learned that boundaries weren't cruelty, they were survival. I learned that family is what you build, not what you're born into. I learned that love without respect is manipulation. James proposed on Emma's 8th birthday. We'd been dating for 6 months, taking it slow, making sure. He got down on one knee in front of Emma first. Emma, I love your mom. I want to be part of your family if that's okay with you. I'll never try to replace your dad, but I promise to show up, to be here, to love both of you the way you deserve. Emma looked at me. I nodded. She turned back to James. Do you promise to play Barbies even when it's boring? I promise. Okay, you can marry Mommy. He proposed to me next. I said yes. We had an engagement party 6 months later. Small, intimate, people who actually loved us. Aunt Carol came. Dad came, looking uncomfortable but trying. My boss came. Emma's teacher came. Our friends, real friends, the kind who show up when life gets hard. Someone asked, will your sister be here? I don't have a sister, I said, and it wasn't bitter. It was just true. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought, I have people who love me, who celebrate me, who would never seat me at table 47 behind a plant. That's family. Blood is just biology. James squeezed my hand. We got married a year later. Small ceremony, immediate family only. Emma was the flower girl. Dad walked me down the aisle and cried the whole way. I'm proud of you, Princess. Your mother would be so proud. I believed him. Madison wasn't invited. I didn't send an announcement, didn't tell her the date, just moved forward without her the way she'd tried to move forward without me. The difference was I built something real. She'd built an illusion that collapsed the moment someone shook the foundation. 2 years after the Plaza Hotel disaster, I was the CMO of one of James's portfolio companies. $250,000 salary plus equity. I made more in 2 months than I'd sent Madison in 2 years. Emma was thriving. Straight A's, soccer team, art classes. She called James bonus dad and he melted every time. We bought a house in Westchester, 4 bedrooms, big backyard, good schools. The kind of place I dreamed about when I was working 2 jobs and living in that studio with a hot plate. I still went to therapy weekly, still working through the damage, the years of being told I was only valuable when I was giving something away. Do you think Madison will ever change? My therapist asked one session. Maybe, maybe not. But that's not my responsibility anymore. I spent 8 years trying to earn love from people who couldn't give it. I'm done. How does that feel? Free, I said. It feels free. Madison tried to reach out once, 2 years post-wedding. Email since I'd blocked her number. Subject: I'm sorry. Body: Sarah, I know I hurt you. I know I took advantage of your kindness. I'm working on myself now, trying to be better. I understand if you can't forgive me, but I wanted you to know I'm sorry. I see now what I couldn't see then. You deserved better. I'm sorry I couldn't be the sister you needed. I read it 3 times. Looked for manipulation, for hidden asks. Found what seemed like genuine remorse. I didn't respond. Not because I was angry, but because forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. I could release my anger at her without inviting her back into my life. Some bridges, once burned, should stay ashes. James found me at my desk, staring at the email. You okay? Madison apologized. What are you going to do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You sure? People think forgiveness means letting people back in. It doesn't. Forgiveness is releasing the anger that's poisoning you, not inviting them back to hurt you again. I forgive Madison for being who she is. I forgive Dad for being weak. I forgive myself for taking so long to leave. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. James kissed my forehead. I love you. I love you too. That night, Emma asked about Madison at bedtime. Mommy, why don't we see Aunt Madison anymore? Sometimes people hurt us, baby, and when they do, we have to decide if being around them is healthy. Like when Sophia was mean to me at school and the teacher talked to her. Exactly. You set a boundary. You said Sophia had to stop being mean or you couldn't be friends. And then Sophia got nicer. Right. But sometimes people don't get nicer. Sometimes we have to protect ourselves by stepping away. Is that what you did with Aunt Madison? Yes, baby, that's what I did. Emma thought about this. I think that's smart, Mommy. You should only be around people who are nice to you. I hugged her tight. When did you get so wise? From you, she said simply. 3 years after the Plaza Hotel, I was keynote speaking at a marketing conference in Chicago. Topic: Setting Boundaries in Family Business. The irony wasn't lost on me. I talked about dysfunction, about sacrifice, about the difference between helping and enabling. I talked about Table 47 and how sometimes our lowest moment becomes our liberation. The standing ovation lasted 2 minutes. Afterwards, a young woman approached me crying. Thank you. I'm 25 and my family treats me exactly how you described. I thought I was crazy for being hurt. You're not crazy, and you deserve better. How did you find the courage to leave? I thought about James showing up at the wedding, about the moment I'd realized I had nothing left to lose because I'd already lost everything that mattered. I stopped waiting for them to see my worth. I started seeing it myself. She hugged me. Thank you. That night, I FaceTimed James and Emma from my hotel room. Emma showed me a picture she'd drawn at school. Our family, me, James, Emma, and our dog we'd gotten last month. Where's Grandpa? I asked, seeing Dad was included in the corner. He's visiting, but he's far away because he has to earn his way back. Smart kid. I love you both, I said. Love you, Mommy, Emma said. Come home soon. James took the phone. You crushed it today. I saw clips online. It felt good, turning the pain into purpose. That's what you do, turn shit into gold. I laughed. Poetic. I'm a venture capitalist, not a poet, but I know value when I see it. And you, Sarah Chen Hartwell, are the most valuable thing in my life. 4 years post-wedding, Madison sent another email. This one was different. Subject: No response needed. Body: Sarah, I'm not writing this expecting anything from you. I'm writing because my therapist says I need to take accountability without expecting forgiveness. You were right about everything. I was spoiled, entitled, cruel. I took your sacrifices for granted and treated you like garbage because it made me feel superior. I erased you from my life because you reminded me of a version of myself I was ashamed of, the one who came from nothing and needed help. I humiliated you at my wedding because Alexander's family made me feel small, and I needed someone to feel smaller than me. You were convenient. There's no excuse. I was an adult. I made choices. Those choices cost me everything, and I deserved that. I'm working now. Real work, not Instagram. I'm paying off the debt to you, $50 a month. It'll take forever, but I'll pay every cent. I'm in therapy twice a week. I'm trying to become someone who deserves a sister like you. I don't expect you to respond. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know. You were right to walk away. And I'm sorry it took losing everything for me to see what I'd lost. I hope you're happy. I really do. Madison. I saved the email, didn't respond. But I felt something shift, some last piece of anger releasing. James read it over my shoulder. How do you feel? Sad. Not for me. For her. For all the years she could have had a sister and chose ego instead. Are you going to respond? No. But I'm glad she's working on herself. Maybe in another life, in another version of this story, we could have been something real. But not this life. Not this life. That weekend, we took Emma to the park, watched her play on the swings, her laugh carrying across the playground. James put his arm around me. You know what I love about you? He said. My devastating wit? That, too. But mostly, I love that you survived them. You could have become bitter, cruel, like Madison. You could have let their treatment poison you, but you didn't. You stayed kind. You just got selective about who deserves that kindness. I had good examples. My mom. You. Emma. You're the example, Sarah. For Emma, for those women at your talks, for everyone who sees you and thinks, maybe I can survive this too. Remember when I said their smirks wouldn't last long? That night at table 47, hidden behind a plant, they thought they'd broken me. They thought I'd absorb their cruelty and stay small, stay quiet, stay grateful for the scraps they threw me. They didn't know they'd freed me. Madison called security on me at her luxurious wedding. She said I wasn't family anymore. She was right. I'm not family to people who treat me like garbage. But karma made sure the whole world saw who she really was. Her perfect wedding became her worst nightmare. Her rich husband left. Her influencer career died. Her friends disappeared. And me? I got the life she always wanted. The successful career, the loving husband, the beautiful home, the real family. Not because I destroyed her, but because I finally chose myself. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been the family scapegoat, the one who gave everything and got nothing back, you're not alone. You deserve better. You deserve people who celebrate you, not people who hide you behind plants. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's living well. It's building the life they said you didn't deserve. It's proving that their opinion of your worth was always worthless. I'm Sarah, and I'm finally free.